Cool. Uh, I'm Daniel. We have Casey here who plays guitar. I play
Great to meet
guitar as
you.
well. Who's that? That's Christopher is a little. I didn't realize the focus would be like this. I thought it would be a little bit better, but and then Hendrik, our drummer, is
Ah,
this, this way. Um, while we're
here we
waiting,
go.
you see him in
Ben,
there?
Ben is here.
Great.
He's coming on here in a moment.
What are those CDs? You got some gold records or collect in your collection?
No, these are just autograph stuff that bands have sent me throughout the years of doing podcasting. I've been doing it I'm celebrating my seventh year this year.
Man,
Nice. Hell yeah.
Oh,
man,
almost 750 videos so far,
man, you're
interviews
like
all together between written and
you're a pioneer.
Spotify and audio.
That's awesome.
Cool.
How you doing, my friend?
How you doing, man? My name's Ben.
Great to see you, Ben. How's everything over there?
Oh, it's rainy.
It
Rainy
is
day.
here as well.
But
I
yeah, man.
wanted to thank you guys for taking the time out to speak with me today.
Of course.
Hey, thanks for the invite. We appreciate it. And I've actually had not heard of your podcast before you reached out, but I've listened to several episodes. We were listening to one from a band from Greece this afternoon. That
Ah,
was pretty interesting. Shoot, I don't have my
It
notes
was
with me.
yeah, I celebrated being in 32 countries last year, and
heck yeah,
it
man.
keeps growing, and I've been very proud of it. It's something I started on a whim. My daughter actually came to me one day and she said, if there was ever a TV show where it was like a name that tune for heavy metal, you'd be a millionaire. You ought to do something with that.
Heck yeah.
Well, you're not on TV yet, but did you hit that million?
No, I haven't done that either. I'm on Spotify. I'm just like you. I get hundreds of
Oh,
penny a listen.
we know what it's like. Yeah, we know what it's like.
I
Heck yeah.
wanted to ask you guys, man, was there any changes in the recording process this time?
A little bit, in that we used multiple locations this time. The producer that we worked with is his name is Mike Schleibaum. He plays in Darkest Hour, and he's also from DC. We all grew up in this area, and
Okay.
those guys are 3, 5 years older than us, maybe.
Wow.
So certainly, you know, have taught us quite a bit. And so having Mike help us on the production side, he recommended we go to this place in Richmond to do drums called the Bakery, which was a newer studio. The location's been there for a long time, but they remodeled the entire interior. Outstanding for drums. Hendrik did a killer job there, and we've got a ton of footage of that. So that's where we deviated a little bit because in the past we've primarily done everything in one place. Um, we came out, we you know, boxed everything up, finished that in Richmond, and then went up to DC and did the guitars at a location that we have worked at before called Ivacota. So we did all of that in that room because we could get really loud up there. And the rest of it, all of the layers and vocals and guitar solos and things like that, we did up at in Tacoma Park, Maryland, which is just outside of DC. It's not far. What else was different? We do anything different, Ben?
The writing process was a lot different. Me being in Delaware and you guys being in Virginia, DC. It was a lot of you know, remote sessions. So it was a lot different. At least on my end, it was a lot different than being in the room with the whole group. During the writing process. What we did every once in a while, like monthly, get together and go over these songs all together. But still, um, it was definitely a different experience on my end.
And one track I wanted to talk about on the album is Bleed for Better Days. It's my favorite track on the album.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah. What do you want to know?
I wanted to talk about it conceptually as far as the lyrics and also how the riffs came to you.
Well, you have to admit, Bob, that song is rather old. So the band we formed this band in 1998. If you can't tell by the shade of my hair, it's not store bought. It's natural. We actually wrote that song in I want to say 2003 or something.
Wow.
It's so you can hear another version of that song on an EP we put out called "The Longest Winter's Woes." I believe it's track 6, the final track on that record.
Yep.
And we have just always loved playing it. It's something that the fans really like when we play it. It's got multiple breakdowns in it, so that's why
Mhm.
it's eaten up, live. But we just felt like it deserved a revisit, modernize the recording and everything. But it's also one of our favorites to play live, so I'm glad.
Yeah, it's a great live song. Great.
Another great track on the album I thought was Love Song. I loved its placement on the album, and I thought it really was conducive to the rest of the album. I wanted to ask how that one came to you as well.
Ben, I think that's you.
Yeah, I mean, going through all the riffage that was there, I stumbled across some tunes that was in the folder. That was the song you hear, Love Song,
Mm.
and just kind of playing around with it. It was definitely different, especially from talking about Bleed for Better Days. It's a that song's quite different than Love Song. So it was definitely something that was a little outside of the box, and but I don't know. We didn't feel like we should have to be constricted to songs like Bleed for Better Days. So that one was like a bunch of 90s for me, vocally 90s inspired vocals on that. And the the lyrics themselves, that's just speaking through a heart, experience, you know. Everybody feels them feelings,
Oh, sure.
you know.
Absolutely. We've all been there.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting story too because you hinted at it, Ben. It's the main guitar riff that leads into the song. It's written in Mixolydian mode, so it has this major and minor sort of feel to it. It's both happy and sad, and
Mhm.
I'm sure you get that sense when you're listening to the music.
Mm.
I never thought this would work with Age of Ruin. I was like, yeah, this is a cool song. Maybe I'll join a band where I can use this. Ben was just crawling through like a lot of so speaking to being in a long distance relationship and you were asking earlier about how the songwriting was a little different being so far away. There's probably 4 hours of driving distance between most of us and Ben, so we've really had to lean into using Dropbox and Google Drive and
Mhm.
like remote technologies and incidentally, you can tell we're in recording studios here. We've been using Pro Tools has a cloud collaboration sort of thing. And it's not really perfect. It actually is pretty glitchy, but it has helped us to write long distance. And so that's one way that he's able to. And in a way, it's kind of neat. We never thought it would work as well as it did, but that distance gives you more time to kind of reflect on your own rather
Sure.
than seeing everything in a room and making decisions right there. So there's silver lining to it. But it just man when Ben when you grabbed that song and started working with it, we just knew immediately we had to work that one in.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's, as far as he was saying, and you were saying it, maybe it doesn't fit into the niche, but it's all about the evolution. And I feel that this band has truly evolved through the years, and I see no reason for it to not progress even farther.
Thanks for that. That's
Thank you. Thank you.
we also I mean it is I would say it was a little bit of a risk. We knew that this is a little outside of I don't know if the right word is comfort zone, but certainly what we wanted to project as what the
Mm,
image was. And then we realized, what, this is our band. We can do what we want, right?
That's right.
sure.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, if we play it, it'll sound like Age of Ruin, right? So,
Absolutely. And
hey,
another thing that we have to discuss is you've had some great videos along with this album. I wanted to ask how they went for you.
It's all been learning.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of learning, you know,
Yeah,
especially
we
from, the time where we're coming up from, all this social media, really all of it's learning,
Sure.
you know, the videos, the content that we're pumping out on social and everything like that. Um, yeah, we're just going as we are getting it as we go.
it's cool because some people will use the word democratization or whatever when they talk about like the availability of these tools to every everyone.
Mm.
So recording equipment or photography or like everything has become more affordable, easier to use, so you can make higher quality content. But that also means that everybody can get access to it. So
Sure.
you're drowning in this sea of content now, and those of us who grew up, long before this technology existed are sometimes struggling to stay afloat with it. But the key, I think, is just to have fun, and if we want the quality to be high and we want it to be reflective of what the band is, but it's also we just want to make sure we're having fun. The video stuff is just a way to make sure that we're getting it out in every media possible to extend the reach of the band because we really are proud of this record and want as many people as can possible to hear it.
And speaking of amazing art, I wanted to ask you about the album artwork. It is absolutely fucking fantastic. I wanted to ask who was the
Thank you.
artist that was involved with that.
That artist's name is Zach Dunn, Zachary Dunn, and he does have a Big Cartel page and an Instagram. Bob, we can send that to you afterwards so you can link that to your viewers. But outstanding work, and
Yes.
when we saw the piece, uh, we bought it. I mean, I gave him my credit card within an hour. I think it
Mm.
was it was we just knew immediately that this piece of art was the piece, and it was a
It was
complete.
Nothing Man, you know.
Yeah.
It was like we had the title of the record already picked out, and Daniel had stumbled across this piece, and it was just like there he is, there it is, and we just everybody knew,
It's
you know.
awesome. It's killer art.
Yes, it's amazing.
Without the music, it looks great. It works great for T-shirts and posters and flyers and everything too. It's just great. And then so the cover itself was decided. Everything else we needed to build around that. So the physical copies, CDs, which will come in I think 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Um, and we do have vinyl already, and vinyl is available through our Bandcamp and our AmpWall pages. But we had to then take it further, and so we had some local artists that helped us with the remainder of the pieces for the inside and the back cover, so that we were carrying on the theme of using real, oil art for the
Sure.
entire design, um, but also then tapping into other artists so that we could keep the community supported throughout. It's something that's very important to us. We uh, we we try to work with local artists for T-shirt designs and for flyers and things like that because we recognize how valuable their time is to that community as much as it is to musicians for what we do. I'm glad you like it, man. It's so cool, isn't it? The
Yeah,
colors.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's the next step for you? What can fans look for next? Will you take to the road?
Yeah, we have a lot of shows coming. There are some have been announced or are coming up. Quite a bit, I would say, into 2026. We also have another song that was not, it wasn't intended for the record, but it was written afterwards, and we were hoping to have that one dropped maybe in February or so. So we do have more music coming, but we want to
Mhm.
let this record sit with folks
Sure.
because it really deserves some attention and some priority on the shelf before we push that aside. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you if you could take me back in time and tell me how the band became a reality.
Want to talk to one of these guys?
Sure.
This dude's been in the band since the beginning.
I can remember in like when I had started high school as a freshman, I had picked up a bass guitar and started to learn it. And within the first couple months or so of having started high school, Daniel, who is my older brother, who had already graduated a couple years beforehand, had a couple buddies, close buddies of his that had played drums and played. There was another guy that played guitar and another guy that wanted to be a vocalist. And basically, they were trying to start a band. Well, I played bass, so let's do it.
Right.
It was during that first initial time, so that was kind of, winter 97 into 98 or so. And then it came to fruition from there. And just over the years, I mean, it's been a journey. It's been, all these experiences, like growing up doing this, playing all these shows, visiting all these places, getting to know all these other great musicians and, fellow metalheads and hardcore kids and stuff. And, as time goes, life has to continue on and reality hits in. So, some people's paths go other ways at points. So, the members have evolved over time, and here we are today. And we are still doing it. And this is so awesome and so much fun. And everybody is so dedicated to each of our own crafts. When we come together, it's just amazing how everybody's got their own like style that just meshes together and creates the ruin.
Right. And I think that's a testament to the band and the strength of that you started out with. And it's still overpouring to today. And able to find a tight-knit group that works as one. I think it truly shows on this album throughout.
Thank you.
Thank you. No,
That's
thanks.
something I've always admired from the bands that I really appreciate and like the most is that Bob, you make a really good point. If a band is really tight, they tend to be really good. Like you think of bands like Metallica or Mastodon, or the bands that just have had solid members for their entire duration.
Sure.
Their music is just profoundly better
Right.
because they get along. It means they communicate well, which is really important, right? So
Sure.
cool.
It's just like I remember Page and Plant in an interview saying that when they all four stepped into the room together, it's just like a magical experience. They all just clicked. And that's something that most bands don't achieve. And it's when you have it, it's something that's priceless.
Yeah, it's magical.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you throughout this great career, what I would like to ask all of you, what have been some of your proudest moments?
I've never been prouder than when we dropped this record. I'll tell you
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say this record is definitely one of them, man. It's definitely like up there on the top.
Hands down, life achievement.
Yeah,
It's that good.
it was a lot of fun.
You guys
Well,
got it?
I think it shows too in the response you've had on the album. The response has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, the community that, or all the people that this band has allowed us to meet, just from all over. It's, the network. It's awesome. But most of all, Nothing Man.
And I saw your post with the Pearl Jam article. It made me laugh. It reminded me, I used to make fun of Pearl Jam when I was at work one day. The Better Man was playing. I changed it to She Likes Toast and Jam, Can't Find the Butter Man.
Oh man,
That's
good.
got a lot of Kiss memorabilia behind you. So was Ace Frehley's passing hard for you, Bob?
Very, very hard. That band was the reason I got into metal. I was very big Beatles fan as a very young child. And in 76, a friend of mine brought over a copy of Destroyer and said, "Hey, I want you to check these guys out." And I heard it and it changed my whole life.
Heck
Yeah,
He
great
had
band.
such an amazing way of a unique style that was all his own. You know, he was never the best technical guitar player on the planet, but no one sounded like that dude ever.
It's the feel. It's
Yeah,
I think a lot of I do this a lot. So Casey plays guitar too, and I think he's technically way faster than I am. But I have more feel, Casey. No, I'm just teasing. I think when you bend the strings, like that sound of a note being bent, it's so much different than just a note that's pressed on a fretboard.
sure.
Bass really played a lot of that. He would do a lot with bends, and it's kind of like um, David Gilmour is very known for like a being a feel guitar player, and
Plus his phrasing was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
think
like
Ace.
a song within a song when he did solo. He
Yeah,
never tried to outshine the band. He always did what the song needed.
right,
Serve the song.
right. It's important.
What was Ace to you, my friend?
Same, I'm also for many, many years I played a Les Paul too. I just those guitars. Ace Frehley I always looked up to, I do the makeup too. I just it's, the thing. I love that. I love any band that brings a big show.
The
Mm,
theatrics,
Theatrics, yeah.
We put
yeah,
on
it's
a
awesome.
You never see like when someone says I'm going to okay, doesn't matter what genre. Let's take ourselves away from the genre. So let's
sure.
just pretend it's let's say it's Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
I'm going to see Taylor Swift in concert, right? You don't say I'm going to go listen to Taylor Swift. So
Sure.
it's about a show. It's I'm going to go see Paul
Right.
McCartney. I'm going to go see the Foo Fighters. I'm going to go see, you know, Cannibal Corpse. You don't say I'm going to go listen to them because it's about a show. It's about a performance. And if you
Sure.
bring something that's entertaining to watch too, and I think Kiss just, I mean, they they
Yeah.
set the stage, literally set the stage
Sure.
Mhm.
for so many
And I,
artists.
and I think there's a lot to be said for that because, I love going to concerts as much as anyone else. And the thing that only times I've ever been disappointed is when I see a group come out on stage and they stand there, they're dressed worse than I am, and they're not moving or anything. And I'm like, geez, I could have sat home and put the record on.
Right. I've
Yep.
seen plenty of shows myself that was the same thing. I'm not going to name names, but you know that and that's been really important to what Age of Ruin is too. We think that's really important. We spend a lot of time thinking about what things are going to look like. Um, boy, there's so many days where we don't want to carry all of these heavy amplifiers out to shows,
Sure.
because a lot of musicians are using these sort of computers as their sound now. There's quite a few devices that are common. Fractal makes one called Axe FX. There's Helix, the by Line 6, the Quad Cortex, the Fender makes something, and they're just basically computers that you plug into and dial in your sound. But what does that look like, right? It just looks,
Right.
it might as well be this behind the
Sure.
bands. It's there's something about the big Marshall stacks that give that kind of the performance, that appearance too, and it's part of the show and keeps us in shape.
Sure. And, my daughter, matter of fact, this week we're getting ready to watch a YouTube footage of Kiss in 77. And I said, you know, the thing I want you to take in is this was 1977. And these guys were doing stuff that I'm seeing on stages today, you know, back then,
Yeah.
they were just way ahead.
Definitely set the bar.
I mean, just like at some point, those guys someone had to say, like that's not technically possible.
Right.
Everything you guys are talking about, dude, you want to wear all that? Like, how are you going to wear those costumes and still play your instrument?
Yeah, 40 pounds of crap and heels too. It's
No,
like,
right?
you
Shoot.
know,
Peter Chris is up there trying to play drums in that heavy polyester outfit.
Yeah, and
Mm.
it's just like amazing, but I think it's a testament to how important that was to them, that to not only be musically appealing but also visually appealing as well. And it provided that spectacle. And back then, when in the 70s, they didn't show their faces. You didn't know who they was, and that was part of the intrigue of it all.
I'm too young to have lived through the unmasking of Kiss when they took the paint off and all that.
Hmm.
Um, but I can understand why that was such a big deal to the fans. It would have been the same as Bob Dylan going electric, right? It's like, wait a
Sure.
minute, you're 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 causing so much conflict in me because this is not who you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyways,
And I wanted to get back to the album. What is the best way to get a physical copy of the album and any merchandising that you do have?
sure. Age of Ruin has set up a Bandcamp page, ageofruin.bandcamp.com. We've also started using Ampwall, which I would recommend to musicians. Is it does they have lower fees for the musicians, so a lot more of that goes to the artist when people make purchases, but it is it's slowly taking off. So that's another spot. Um, we do have a few select pieces on our website too, but primarily Bandcamp right now. As once the CD comes out, it's going to be more widely distributed. We have distribution through the label Gray Matter that's going to be putting those CDs out, so that'll be easier to find.
And we talked a little bit about going on the road. If you could pick your like who would be your dream tour partner, who would it be?
I don't want to bring Taylor Swift up in twice. Oh, that's a good one. One of these guys should answer that.
Man, I'll go with my shirt, and Gojira would be badass to go on tour with, I think.
Gojira. Okay.
There you
Hmm.
go.
Why is that, Casey?
They're awesome. Their
They're pretty
stage show is
awesome.
amazing. Their
Yeah.
technical, it's great.
I have never seen them. Have you seen them, Casey?
I have, yep.
Have you?
They're fantastic.
Certainly another band that's a big influence and
Those riffs.
great riffs, outstanding riffs.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you if you guys could give a message to your fans, what would that message be?
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
It's becoming ever more and more a stressful world we live in, and it's hard for us in the world of the arts to do what we do while the costs keep going up and venues are struggling and the you know the world is just so stressful and scary. Um, the most important thing that all of us can do is be kind and patient with each other, and that it goes beyond music.
Hmm.
Uh, misunderstandings happen, but everybody deserves a shot at happiness, right?
Sure. And we've gotten into times, I'm gonna be 60 this year. Matter of fact, next week. And I find myself just straying away from the TV. Just getting away from it because it's not the world I envisioned when I was growing up that it was gonna be when I got older, and it's hard to see.
It is. You got to remember. I think it's really important for all of our fans and everyone out there to remember that there is still a lot of good in the world. Like
Sure.
Age of Ruins, Nothing Man was just released on October 17th, for example.
Exactly.
That'll
And
bring a lot of joy to your heart.
And there's no better way to get away from things than go see a good show
That's right.
and get that escape. That was one of that goes back to what we were talking about before, seeing an actual show, because what a better way to get away from the stresses of life and to have a good time.
Yeah. And
Preach
when
it.
you're at a show and I just maybe speak for myself, but I know when I'm at a show and I'm out there like in the pit with everyone else, everyone is your friend, right?
Sure,
During that show, no one's talking about politics, right?
right.
Everyone's out there to party, to have fun, to mosh, and just be stoked, right? So if we were like that all the time, wouldn't this world just be so much easier and so much more fun?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for delivering an album that I enjoyed from top to bottom. Each
Thank you.
album seems to be a greater and greater transition for you, and this band has done nothing but get stronger throughout the years. And I look forward to what lies ahead for you, my friends.
Right on. Thank you for that.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You do the same, man. It was great meeting you.
Great meeting you. Take care, my friends.
All right.
Rock on.
Bye.
Cheers.